Okay, we are reading Far Journeys by Robert Monroe. We are on chapter 5 and page number 54 of the book and page number 33 of the PDF. So last time we talked about the Meridian colors, Miranon. I always get confused with the name. And he talked about the levels of consciousness, right? So that is one way of measuring the level of consciousness. The other way of measuring the levels of consciousness is the David Hawkins method, which is also pretty profound. Okay, I think we'll have a session on that another day. But basically, he talks about level 49. And then if you go ahead of 49, you're going into a different realm altogether. So we are starting from there. Of course, this is a voice that has taken over. The entity has taken over a person who's in the booth and is talking to the monitor. And we are just reading what the actual session really envisaged.
Monitor. Well, I must confess that it's a kind of hard on my tiny, poor physical matter consciousness. Other voice. That is true. I must. It is very hard on my consciousness also. I feel at times, because I am very near to completing the circle, that I have accomplished a major evolvement for my consciousness. But then, when I try to explain it, I realize just how far I have yet to go and how little I have actually gone through. Because of my level of consciousness is one of love, I leave you with love. Good day.
So what is the thing over here, right? He says it very clearly. Although I have evolved, I understand that I have a lot, I mean, I have a way to go. There are a lot many levels that I have to actually go through. So it is hard for me also to come lower my level of consciousness. And I realize that I have a long way to go. So this is true for everyone. And also, what he's explaining over here, it's very difficult to explain to anyone what you're experiencing. So this is something that we have experienced over and over again. The person has a beautiful time in the excursion, in the gateway voyage, in the lifeline program, but if you tell them to explain what they experience to someone else, it becomes very, very difficult, because this is something wo chakna padega. You have to experience it for yourself to really get that feel of what we are talking about.
Executive monitor. Ask him to describe this interactive unit that is you now and your physical body. What is this relationship between this energy form and your physical body? Part of my energy that I have when I'm out of body is used to build my body. When I use this energy to build my body here on earth, it blocks or curves my thinking processes so it doesn't go out of body.
So now, please understand that when we come into this 3D reality, what happens is that we have to forget what we knew when we were in that expanded state. Over here, he says that expanded state was the out of body. Now, if I remember that, then I can't stay in this physical body. But having said that, what are we striving for over here is to expand our awareness so that we can come to know what that is, so that we can go back there rather than forget what we are experiencing here. Now, some of you have attended the Gateway Voyage. In that, we play a track or a tape called the Kernel. I don't know how many of you will remember that, but he does a fantastic job in explaining what is happening in this earth reality, right? So we are all here in the school, but this school is very, very addictive, right? So if you don't remember where you came from, you will get stuck in this reality. So that becomes the challenge over here. And that is what we are doing in awareness, increasing that awareness so that we can go back to that reality where we came from and not get stuck over here.
The thinking process needs to be curved to communicate with the other personalities here on earth again. This is one type of communication when I'm out of body. I take most of that energy that is used for my body with me, but enough to keep the body informed is left here. It permits me to open up my mind and allow me to communicate with other personalities, other brains, so to speak, to communicate with, to learn from, to talk to.
So now what is happening? This particular explorer has gone out of body, right? Now, when you go out of body or you're going into an expanded state of consciousness, there is a freedom that is experienced. Why? Because otherwise, a lot of our attention is focused on the physical body. Okay. Now, when I go out of body or in an expanded state, the focus or the concentration on the physical body diminishes, which allows us a greater amount of freedom to do other stuff.
Monitor. At what point do you first enter to become a part of this physical body? Apparently, when, although fertilization is a mechanical thing, a chemical thing, the personalities out of body are very much aware of when things happen and choose at that time to develop the fetus or not to develop. So, part of my energy at this moment may be used to develop a personality, and I may have several personalities going on at the same time, being developed at the same time.
So we can Shimangla, your mic. So we can exist in several planes of consciousness at the same time. So our higher self can exist in multiple realities. We explained that curiosity, right? Curiosity was one. And the curiosity could not figure out everything. So it made curiosity one, curiosity two, curiosity three, curiosity four, curiosity five. Now all of these lower level ones are a part of that upper level. So that higher consciousness can actually exist in many consciousnesses at the same time, which again forms the soul group.
Is this entering of the physical body limited just to the planet Earth or other planets?
You missed one paragraph.
Sorry. Monitor. At the same time, in the physical kind of reality? Yes, yes. They tell me right now one is old, one is crippled, one is male, and where they are, I am not ready to know. And I could feel being old and crippled, but I could not feel being male.
So that means that the uh, the the explorer is a female. She's gone out of body. She's experiencing herself naturally as herself because she is there, as well as that old man, but she can't feel herself as a male. Okay. So now again, the consciousness, because at times we cannot wrap our heads around what is happening or what is real and what is not real. Right. So anything that is beyond our comprehension, we cannot observe. The Magellan effect starts to creep in. But having said that, the more we observe, the more we actually look at and experience, then we can start to actually know what is real and what is not real.
Monitor. Is this entering of the physical body limited just to planet Earth or other planets? We go to other places. There are beings on other places, and our energy is aware of all these other places.
So when we go into the Starline programs, you start going into intergalactic space and you start experiencing those other realities and other civilizations, so as to say.
not like human earth bodies, but other forms of things or beings. What are some of the other forms on planets? What are these other forms? One's like a gelatin kind of thing, slimy kind of things. Are these located anywhere near the planet Earth? Thousands of light years away. Monitor. In this energy, is there a set of rules in which one operates? I'm not sure what you are asking. Monitor. Is there a set of rules in which the body operates? No. The energy itself decides. If the energy itself makes a wrong decision, then it destroys itself. If it makes correct decisions, it builds or strengthens its personality. It is possible for the energy to destroy itself.
So, what is he saying over here now? That the energy has intelligence and it is monitoring itself whether it is taking right decisions or wrong decisions. And if something is not making it grow, it cuts itself off. Okay, it destroys itself.
What is correct and what is wrong in that?
So, what is again in the intelligence of that energy? Once you have done something, you will get a like when you do something, right? You get a feeling that, yeah, I did something right or I did something wrong. Now, if you did something wrong, you grow because of that right. Okay. If you do something wrong, you get diminished because of that.
Mhm.
So now, if you keep doing too much of wrong, will you last?
No, that I understand. But I'm wondering in that realm, in that reality, how
I,
what is right and
that,
what
that
is
is
wrong?
something from the conscious awareness of that being who is in that reality. Like we also understand whether we did something right or wrong. And the more rights we do, the more powerful and the more growth we have. The more wrongs we do, like that over there, also that guy
There
will
must be
understand.
some. Okay.
That guy will also understand at its own consciousness level.
Yeah.
Na?
Yeah. Okay.
What is classified then as misuse? When it has not added to its present knowledge, when it has not gained anything more than it had learned previously. It is more than just a question of good or bad or good or evil. For example, killing by itself would not mean that it was destroying the energy by killing the animal or another human being. Not just adding to the knowledge, but enhancing the personality. The deed actually enhances previous knowledge or understanding that is used as addition. Strength. If the killing was for the sake of killing, if nothing was learned, nothing gained, then it could destroy the overall personality. But there also seems to be a hierarchy of understanding, and as the energy is strengthened, it moves up a hierarchy of knowing.
So this is very important. Any activity, anything that we do, anything that we experience, if it does not result in growth, if it does not result in more understanding, then it is absolutely useless. So, when we engage in frivolous things over and over and over and over again, and it does not result in any kind of growth, then literally speaking, we are killing ourselves. So that is why we are in the workshops also. I constantly have started saying that observe the patterns in your life. Where are you getting stuck? What are you doing where no growth is taking place? And ultimately, the person who is in the path of growth will start observing that no, I'm not gaining anything in this conversation, and there is no use of wasting my energy in that conversation. Or if I'm going out with some people, if the conversation is not growth oriented, then why am I going out with them? And this is what starts happening when people start doing the programs, whether they like it or not. Their internal consciousness starts to understand this thing. So you will not be attracted to frivolous gossip, stuff which is not growth oriented to you. So many people will feel after doing the workshops that the people that they associate with will change. The reason for that is that your consciousness has taken a step up. And if the people you are associating with, their consciousness has not taken a step up, then the vibratory frequency will not match. So you will not be comfortable with those people. If you all are understanding what I mean, I think some of you have experienced this also.
I totally agree with you, Niket.
Hmm.
So now actually that, that empty socializing becomes so difficult. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, because you,
Same here. Same here. I reiterate.
Oh God, it's so difficult.
yeah, so
I
you will find that you are looking for growth all the time. You're not wanting to engage in any activity that is not resulting in growth for you. So that becomes very important.
Then, where does this hierarchy of knowing lead to? It's very important to become a move towards a unified whole, like there is one on the top. As the personalities move and merge, the more knowledgeable, the level of understanding increases as they move up. It doesn't make sense verbally, but visually it makes a lot of sense.
So what is it? I'm at level 1. My knowledge increases, I go to level 2. My knowledge increases, I go to level 3. My knowledge increases, I go to level 4. And so on and so forth till I reach that unifying consciousness, the oneness. And ultimately, that is the aim for all of us. जो मोक्ष अपने बोलते हैं, what is that? Going up into another level. It doesn't mean that we've hit the ultimate. We have transcended this level of consciousness. After that, there are many more levels of consciousness that we need to transcend. जो in Hinduism, they say that there is a Brahma at this level. There's a Brahma at this level. There's a Brahma at this level. And this is very beautifully explained by Robert Monroe in his book, Ultimate Journeys, the next book. We'll do it sometime, but he explains these levels very well in that book.
Monitor. All right, then I think you have given us a lot of material to think about. So thank your guide and ask if there is a name that he goes by. He doesn't want to give a name right now because he doesn't want it to interfere with the training that we are doing. Be too concrete. I need to be more and more aware, and he can do his work better right now without giving me him a name.
So, again, very clearly, the statement I need to be more and more aware, and he can do his work better. So, the more aware I become, the more better our guides and helping spirits can work through us to really achieve what our life purpose is.
Monitor. Ask him if there is any other training exercise that he would like you to perform before we close this session. No, he thinks I've gone further than he really anticipated.
So, again, he's been tapped in the back that you did a good job.
Psychologist. Monitor. Ask your friend how we got here in the first place, how we got on the planet Earth and in space time. I felt like I was being taken back in time and could feel a bombardment of particles of matter and actually seeing the bombardment of particles. Some particles that fuse together actually become a working mechanism. I guess the only thing that we can understand and relate it to would be like a computer. And as a fusion of these particles occurred, they actually started communicating with one another by the heat of the light or the energy that they were radiating. And once they knew they were communicating with one another, and that is trying to communicate on the same level. And there were lots of these things, and they wanted to find out what they could do with this communication, how far they could go, could expand, could see, could think. They developed Earth and actually built Earth. They took a part of themselves, played around with animals, people, and realized the number. How many they could produce just from one. Like one of these things could have thousands of people, parts of them situated everywhere. The problem after a time, though, they created better minds or thinking machines, and the event that the original should die or disintegrate. They are not long lasting. In the sense of thousands and thousands of years, they are not forever kind of things. Our spirits seem to be an improved model of the original.
The original has disintegrated.
The original has disintegrated.
Okay, 1 second. Right. So, what does he say? That consciousness evolved from the smallest of particles where they were bombarding each other, right? Then they joined together. So, you're going into the elemental state where you are going into the atom. Now, the atoms they merge together to form the molecule. The molecules merge together with other chemicals and other elements to form various other things like H2O. So hydrogen and oxygen combine to create water. So like that, various things started getting created, which led to now, as you go into progression, it led to plant life, then it into insect life, then into animal life, then birds and mammals, and then human beings. So the consciousness is evolving. Today, if you tell me the table, for example, it's made out of wood, right? Now the wood has been already cut, but the table has a consciousness of its own. If I hit a table, the energy field in the table gets affected. You understand? So anything that you use with love lasts for a longer period of time. Anything that you don't use with love does not last for a long period of time, right? So there is communication ability in even inanimate objects. We've talked about this before many times. There's this book, The Secret Life of Inanimate Objects. I don't know if I can find the PDF, but if we do, that may be an interesting book to actually read, where we actually see that inanimate objects also have conscious awareness and they communicate. This is what is being said over here. And as that communication takes place, then consciousness starts to evolve into higher and higher and higher processes, or it becomes more complex. Okay. Like today, we are at the highest level, the human beings. So we have much more complex thinking than, let's say, a cow or a monkey for that matter. We have much more evolved conscious thinking than someone who's lower in the hierarchy.
Monitor. Did the spirit originate in this process? The spirit was a result of that. The spirit resulted from the fusion of these particles. The particles were matter fused together. That was spirit also. It was, and that spirit lived for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and it disintegrated, and before it disintegrated, it rebuilt something that was better, and it knew that it was going to die. It was going to disintegrate, and it created the spirit that I now communicate with. So, in a sense, they both can be called spirits or superminds. But your spirit could be and is different from my spirit.
So again, it's a matter of evolution of consciousness. How is consciousness evolving from one stage to the next stage? And there is a difference in the conscious awareness of everyone around. What I am perceiving, you will all perceive things slightly differently, because we are all a, we are all a part of that ultimate consciousness, but still in this consciousness we are slightly different. If we were exactly the same, then all of us would be experiencing exactly the same thing, which is not possible. So there has to be variety, there is a difference, there's a frequency shift which makes us all unique and who we are.
Monitor. How many such spirits are there, such as the one you are communicating with? Only 1,000. Monitor. Did they remain in the vicinity of Earth? They don't know that term vicinity. Vicinity to them is as long as it is within millions of miles of their reach, it is in their vicinity. To us, it means very close. Their minds can reach out over millions of light years.
So consciousness is existing everywhere. It is not limited by time and space. Now over here he gives 1,000. There's a question mark in my mind about that. So I mean we'll just forget it.
Monitor. Are there communications with other spirits or other intelligent entities? They have created them. If they have created them, yes, there are.
So again, if I have a connection with another entity, right, I will always be connected. And this is something that they have figured out in quantum physics, where if any particle comes in contact with the another particle, if anything happens to one particle, it will happen to the other particle. There will be a corresponding or a opposite reaction in the other particle. You can take that particle thousands of miles away, but there will still be a reaction. They did this experiment with DNA, right? They took the DNA of a person and they put it in a petri dish. And the person was in the same room. So they did something to the DNA of the person. There was an exact same response in the person, right? Or they did something to the person and there was a response in the DNA. Then they put this person in another room and did something to him. Again, the DNA in the other room reacted. Then they put him in another building and still the same thing happened. They put him in the other side of town. Again, the same thing happened. They put him in a different city. Again, the same thing happened. They put him in a different country. Again, the same thing happened. They put him across the globe. Again, the same thing happened. So, what was happening? Time and distance was not a figure at all. If something happened to that guy, instantaneously it happened to the DNA sample. You get that? So what is he saying over here? Their minds can reach over millions and millions of light years. So what is across the world for something like that, for conscious awareness? That is how remote viewing works. That is how we can go out of body into other realms of consciousness. Okay. Yes,
But
Renuji.
Nikki,
Bhaiya,
1 second, Ashanti. Renuji is speaking.
Bhaiya, that means what they used to talk about, that people can do things with your hair and your
Absolutely.
that voodoo
101%.
and things like that. That means it's
101%.
possible.
101%. There is no doubt in it.
But
You
this
will
is
see
proving
many.
it, no?
What?
This is proving it, what you are
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. There is a
Yeah.
book. There is a book. It is called Vibrational Medicine, right? And it gives so many examples of how vibratory medicine can be used. Today, if homeopathy works, how does it work? It works only on
Vibration.
vibration. There is not even one molecule of the original substance in that thing. It is only the frequency, the vibration which is working. You get that? So when you do voodoo, like if you see spiritual masters, many of them, their pictures could not be taken. So you had a group of people, the spiritual master was in the middle. There are so many stories like this, and they took a picture, and the master's picture did not come. This was even mentioned in Autobiography of a Yogi.
So even on a photograph, people can do it.
101%. We test for things on the photograph all the time. If you give me a photograph, I can test so many things about a person.
No, but that's good happening. No,
What?
but bad can also be done.
Naturally, that is how voodoo works now. Today they'll take something which has been touched. 1 second. So they'll take something of yours and they'll put it into the voodoo doll, right? Now, whatever they do to the doll, the energy is going to you. Now, if your field is not strong enough to bounce back that particular energy which is coming, it will penetrate your energy system and create a problem for you. But if your energy field is strong enough, then it will bounce back and hit that other guy.
Oh, okay. So,
So in-
as long as you keep yourself strong
Absolutely.
and,
So
and your
that's
energy
that is
feels
the
strong.
yeah. So that is the basic point, right? Your resilience. What is your energy field? That is what the game is all about. The more resilient you are, the less outside stuff will touch you. Today in the Gita talks, Nagarji is constantly saying the self-realized person is not going to be anxious. He is not going to let anything trouble him. He is not going to get affected by what is happening around him. So what is that? That means a self-realized person is the ultimatum or the epitome of resilience, of equanimity,
But that
of
means
sthirta.
even voodoo cannot be done on a self-realized person.
Naturally, if the energy field of that person is very strong, it depends on the power that the person doing voodoo, right? What is
Okay.
the level of consciousness? But at the
Okay.
end of the day, anyone who's doing voodoo, the level of consciousness cannot be very high. One day we'll talk about the levels of consciousness as per David Hawkins. Then you'll understand this concept even better.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
Asha, you had a question?
Yeah, almost similar. No, I also wanted to know, like, our children have the same DNA as, say, mine or my parents or my.
Correct.
So if I feel something, my children will feel it, or my
Yeah,
ancestors will feel
yeah.
it.
I mean, how many? I think there are many mothers here, right? I think all of you would agree that if something happens to your children, something tells you something is going wrong somewhere. And so many people feel it. I mean, today when the guru was making an energetic connection with his disciple, I mean, today you're talking about parents, but the guru also had to have this capability of
Yeah.
actually observing his student anywhere and everywhere. So, whatever was happening to the student, the guru was responsible. So becoming a guru of someone is not such an easy task. It's not, I mean, you have to take responsibility for your student. And that's a huge task to take. It's not so easy. Okay. Now, as far as DNA is concerned, there is a splicing of the DNA of the father and the mother. So the child has the hunch of the DNA of the parents, but the child is not exactly like any one of the parents. Are you getting the distinction here?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Okay.
it's a mixture of the two DNA, right? So it is
Yeah.
not a perfect DNA match. The communication and this feeling happens a lot with twins because they
Okay.
are literally a perfect match. So lot of twins, they've shown in that Salman Khan movie now, one fellow is getting bashed, the other fellow is falling.
Yeah.
One of the movies in Salman Khan's movie, they showed this,
Yeah.
right? So that can actually happen. But the fact is whether you tune in. Now, in this matter, now you'll have to bring in epigenetics, which was something which was brought up by Rupert Sheldrake, right? Now, if epigenetics means that your environment also plays a part in the entire game. Now, there are two twins, they have been brought up in totally different environments. They can
Yeah.
develop totally different personalities, although the base will remain the same. Are you all getting what I'm saying?
Yes. They might be different, but they'll still feel the
Yeah, they
same
may
thing.
feel each other, but the personalities will develop differently
Yeah.
depending on the epigenetics.
Yeah.
Now, the epigenetics is what determines which of the genes get switched on, because there are lots of genes, right, in the genome, and which one gets switched on is dependent on epigenetics. So, you may
Okay.
have a propensity to get, let's say, a disease, but if your environment and what you're doing, it's when I say environment, it is not only external environment, it is also your internal environment. What are you thinking, what are you behaving, all those factors will start playing a game. It will all
Okay.
start playing a part in the whole development process.
So, thank you.
Yeah.
Why do they give so much attention to man? They are creation. Like I said before, months ago, we are experiments. We are the tester to see how far the spirit can think, can fuse particles together, can see what its potential is. They are still experimenting to see what their own potential is, and we are one part of that experiment.
So as I said, that this is a school. We are all here to learn. So we are all parts of a test. Our higher mind is actually playing a game, is attempting to see what we can learn and how we can grow to experience something. Right? So the story goes, there was the all-knowing Brahman, and I will call it curiosity. Curiosity, if you know everything and everything is in you, you cannot experience anything. So curiosity wanted to experience something. So it created multiple curiosity so that they could go and experience things. So you cannot experience things unless there is duality. So only when there is a distinction, there are two, can you experience something. The moment you become one, now that experience ceases to exist. Okay, so we are all experiments. We are all here to learn. We are all here to grow. That's the end game.
Are we an important or a minor part of this experiment? They are afraid that all the brains that they created could fathom it or could take it. It is like some of the brains that they have developed would short out.
So again, some people get overwhelmed. They go crazy, right? And then they click out. They exit out of this universe or this world, this 3D reality, quicker than actually is necessary. Some of these souls are evolved. They come here for a specific task or a specific learning. They do it and they get out very fast. Okay, so it can happen.
Have they created all of the human brains that are on the planet Earth? Yes. Monitor, I see. They know everything that is going on. To clarify one thing, when humans have offspring, they don't necessarily control the offspring, but it is part of the experimentation to see what results from the mating. When two parts of a spirit or two different spirits actually mate, what happens? They don't know, and that is part of the experimentation.
So again, when parents are mating, whether the offspring will come or not come is not in the parent's hand. It's again self-directed, right? And once the offspring is also there, we really don't have control over our offspring. We think that we have control, but really we have no control. They are monitored by their own higher guiding spirits to do what they have come here to experiment with. That's why allowing freedom to the children becomes very, very important. We give our guidance, we give our support, but we let them learn, right? Now, this is a problem which has started happening when you give over care, it becomes a problem, which some of the mothers nowadays or some parents nowadays have started doing, which actually creates a problem because it does not allow the child to experiment and do things on their own.
Can your spirit be in touch with my spirit? Yes, anytime.
So we can actually, all of us, our brains are like transmitters and receivers. If you can tune into the correct frequency, you can literally communicate telepathically. There is nothing stopping you from communicating telepathically.
Monitor. Ask your spirit to see if he can be in touch with my spirit and see if there is any special message that my spirit has for me. I'm feeling uncomfortable about going to other spirits, and he was laughing at me for doing this, for feeling uncomfortable, even though I did it with my mother. I just better come on back.
So the higher spirit is there, and this guy's spirit who has come out of the body is going to do something and is feeling little uncomfortable and shaky. And the other guy is laughing that, why are you so shaky and concerned? So this also is very important over here. This is the importance of a guru, of a guide, right? Now I'm going into a higher realm. I have a guide and I have built a relationship with that guide. Then what is there to fear? Because the guide is not going to push me into anything that the guide is not experienced with. So the guide will always hold my hand. So again, we come back. This is the importance of the guru. Unfortunately, at our time and age, you cannot find those kinds of gurus who are in that state of evolution, who can really guide us in the way that we can be guided or would like to be guided.
Monitor, right? And then thank your spirit. Okay. Decorator. Blessed are they who seek me. In seeking me, their long period of forgetfulness is coming to an end. They are awakening to who they truly are, a living part of me, manifesting life and radiating love.
So this becomes important. Blessed are those that seek. That means what is happening? This person is open to looking, open to becoming aware, is opening their senses to experience something which is beyond their experience. So they are stepping up the bar. And those that step up the bar and are open to looking will find. If I'm not looking, how can I find? It is impossible.
You have forgotten to look for me, much less gaze upon my countenance. Oh, ye of little faith! There are countless numbers who live in the expectancy of my coming. In truth, I never left.
So there's this thing that Christ will come back. Okay. And the point is that what he's saying is that he never left. Okay. There's someone annotating. Yeah. So he never left. The spirit is always there. And I'm experiencing it, personally speaking, and people who are doing the workshops, they also actually experience this. When you are getting out of this limited conscious awareness that we are working with all the time, magical things can start happening for us. The kind of shifts that can take place are so phenomenal that it's not funny. You you really have to experience it to know what we are talking about.
Let him who has his ears to hear, let him hear now. You seek me amidst your blindness. You look upon me without recognition. You touch my hand and know not whom you have touched. You proclaim my name and my teachings as it suits you and the occasion. Awaken. Behold the reality of my being that is among you.
So I always tell people nothing is hidden. If you have eyes to see, ears to hear, tongue to taste, nose to smell, and feelings to feel, nothing is hidden. Everything is totally known by us. Okay. So the point becomes over here that the more aware we can become, the better we are. Okay. So Rituji is annotating. Okay. Shivangla.
You seek me amidst your blindness. You look upon me without recognition. You touch my hand and know not whom you have touched. You proclaim my name and my teachings as it suits you and the occasion. Awaken, behold the reality of my being that is among you. I am the earthquake, wind, and fire. I am the still small voice piercing the thunderous tumult. I am the peace beyond all understanding. I am the light that guides all men to the Father. I am the love that overcometh all things. I am the light that illumines the minds of men. I am the sustenance of men's souls. I am your life and you are my own. I am the very breath you breathe. We are one in the Father.
So now, in chapter 10 of the Gita, Krishna ji is saying, I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that. Okay, so this is exactly the same thing. So that higher consciousness pervades everything, is in everything. Okay, and everything is in that also, which Krishna Bhagwan starts to talk in chapter 11, that I am this, I am that. Okay, so now basically what is being said in the Gita, this is same thing has been said over here. Shivangla, you can increase your volume actually.
We are one in the Father. Do not despair. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee, nor can you truly forsake me, for we are one. Let the old way be gone. It must die and its ashes be blown to the four corners of the earth. The new is emerging, but you must change your perspective. Do not look for me in the form of a man. The time is not yet. But look for me in the life that speaks to you in your everyday activities. You have looked amiss.
So
I have no limitations and am not bound by physical dimensions.
so what is he talking about over here? Shivangla, either you have to mute yourself, otherwise it's really echoing. So over here, what is he saying over here? That we must constantly change our perspective. We must constantly shift our perspective to go into a higher state of consciousness. Because if we get stuck in any kind of level of consciousness or in a perspective, we are stuck there. So we must always be a lookout, because our perspective is not the end all and for all. There are many other ways of looking at the same thing. For example, if I look at this glass, right, I can look at this glass and say that it is whole, but I don't know there's a hole on the other side. So I have to see, I have to look from various perspectives to enhance my own perspective. And that once I change my perspective, then the old perspective is dead. Okay. And then he says, but look for me in life that speaks to you in your everyday activity. So, all the small things. We saw this in Agora, the left hand of God, where he clearly says the Agora listens to nature, observes nature, because nature is constantly telling me what to do and how to do. So everything that is happening around us in our everyday activities is actually indicating to us what is happening, where are we going, are we progressing, we are not progressing, what is the state of consciousness that we are working from. Now you have all the tools that we talked about. You have the grid, which where are you operating from on the grid? Then we have the levels of consciousness of David Hawkins. We have the 4 S's. Okay, so there are so many tools that we have got now to be able to actually assess where we are coming from and to shift our perspective. And when that perspective shifts, everything shifts.
I defy logic and am beyond your conceptual imaginings. I live and move and have my being in all there is. You have sought me amiss. My countenance is seen within each face of my Father's creation. Look upon your brother and see my face.
So now, what is he saying over here? Shivangla, I'm muting you. You have to unmute. Okay, so I defy logic and I'm beyond your conception of your mind. So all of us have a box or a belief system in which we live in. If anything is beyond that belief system, we will not be able to observe it. So this was the Magellan effect. We have of course talked about the Magellan effect many times. When Magellan went to the Indonesian islands, and then his sailors walked out of the sea, the locals thought they are walking out of the sea, because in their comprehension, nothing so big could float which could sustain or hold so many people at the same time. Then the shaman who was aware, who was looking, who was constantly noticing things in nature, saw that the way the waves were coming onto the sea were different. And that indicated that there was something big in the sea. And then he saw the ship. When he saw the ship, because he was connected with his tribesmen and they believed him, when he said that there's a ship, then they could also start seeing there is a shift. There is a sea, a ship in the sea. So again, when something goes beyond our comprehension, we have to change our perspective. Otherwise, we will not be able to observe it.
Bend over a still pool. Do not be deceived. The image that you see reflected is my own. Do you not see the truth now? Learn of me. Take within your hand a leaf, a stone, a drop of water, and know that nothing exists that does not contain me.
So I am in all, and all is in me. Okay. This is again exactly what the Gita is also saying. Krishna Bhagavan is saying, I am in everything, and everything is in me.
Have you not known that I am eternal life and therefore recognize neither the past nor the future, only the now that is? Live in the now with me.
So this is extremely important. Okay. I am the eternal life, and therefore recognize neither the past nor the future. So this is like going into focus 15, where everything existing at the same time. The past is also there, the future is also there, the present is also there. So then when everything is there, then there is no there, right? Everything becomes the now. So where is the action taking place? The action is always taking place in the now. And this is something that we read about in the power of now, that the more we focus in the present, the more present we become to everything that is happening, the more aware we become, the more present we become, right? So everything is in the now. So live in the now. I live in the now, he is saying very clearly. So live with me in the now, because your now is going to become the past, and your future is based on the past. So what is happening now creates the past as well as the future.
Have you not known that I am eternal life and therefore recognize neither the past nor the future, only the now that is? Live in the now with me. I stand in the light as you stand in the light, but you do not know of your light. I am here to show you that your light and my light are one and the same. Once you recognize this divine light to be a part of all that is, will you then begin to understand your own relationship to life, to your Creator, and thereby to your own sonship eternal?
So aham brahmasmi. Okay. That you are the light, I am the light, and you are a part of my light. So aham brahmasmi. Everything is me, and me is everything.
I neither slumber nor sleep, and you must learn that your soul neither slumbers nor sleeps. Once you realize this, you are aware of your spiritual vitality and wakefulness to your high consciousness. In so knowing, you will understand that I am truly closer than your hands and your feet. In this knowing, in this knowledge, we are one.
So your your consciousness, your consciousness is always present, even if you are sleeping. You will find that you're in deep sleep, right? And then let us say someone walks into your room and there is a threat, immediately you will get up in most cases, right? So even when you are asleep, there is a semblance of conscious awareness, whether we like it or not, right? So when we are going into the focus 10 state, many people experience this. that they can't move their hands. So the mind is awake, the body is asleep. Even in deep sleep, that is actually the case, right? So you are always aware. Your spirit is always aware, whether you like it or not. And naturally, that spirit is closer to us because that spirit is us than our physical body, right? The physical body still has a distinction from us. We did this program called IEMT. In that, there is an exercise where they say, "Where is your eye?" Right. So where will you point where your eye is? Everyone can point. Where is your eye? So someone will point here, someone will point here. Where is your me? So it will be different from your eye. Okay. And there are 4 steps to that. It's an amazing experience to actually conceptualize and understand what is a concept of these things. Where is the self? Okay. Where is the self? So now you need to consider where is the self? It's a beautiful concept.
Live in truth, be truth, live in beauty, become an artist in living. Live in me and let me express you. I reside in all space and no space, all time and no time. Once you turn and become a part of my reality, all power is restored unto you. This is the power that makes you one with all things. This is the power that will set you free. My children abide in me.
So again, very clear. I reside in all space and no space, in all time and in no time. So everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And then once we connect with that higher state of consciousness, once we tag into that higher state of consciousness, then we become all powerful. Aham Brahmasmi.
All of the explorer material has one characteristic in common. They pose more questions than they answer. As they say, we have a problem here. We thought our new associations would provide answers, but for every answer, at least 50 new questions arise out of the explorer material. Therefore, it became time to stop counting the trees and look at the forest instead. And so we did.
So whenever you learn something new, you find that there is something more to learn. Okay. This is a common factor with anyone who's on the path, who's seeking, because there are so many things to learn. It is, I mean, you learn, I mean, I'm constantly finding this. The more I do, the more I find that there is more to do, right? And there is no end to it. So the point here again comes back to the main, to the thing that we read first today, was that if you are doing anything in your life and it is not resulting in any kind of growth for you, then it is useless doing that. Okay, again, it is extremely important to be consciously aware of what you are doing and why you are doing. Otherwise, what's the point of doing? Then it is an indulgence which is not taking you anywhere. You're getting stuck in a pattern. Okay, I think we can stop here today.